In this video, I'm going to show you through not one, but two starter sets. The Warhammer 40,000 Introductory set and Warcry Crypt of Blood starter set. Hello everyone, I'm Peter and welcome to the Esoteric Order of Gamers, the channel all about fantastic tabletop games of all types and sizes. And today we're going to have a look at two introductory / starter sets from Games Workshop. Now, I've been playing games for more than 40 years and of course I've made on this channel about 500 videos, so I feel like I know quite a bit about games. They're kind of my life. So when I look at these, it's time to put all that aside and pretend that you know nothing about this fantastic hobby that we all enjoy so much. And this is why things like this I think are a really great idea. Now obviously from the point of view of Games Workshop, you want to get young people in playing the games as much as possible. You want to get them as young as possible so they get absolutely hooked to the worlds of Games Workshop. So, it's a bit of a no-brainer for them to come out with starter sets like this. The question is, do these starter sets do the job? Do they give you enough to get you really into Warcry and Warhammer 40,000? Do they inspire you to keep getting involved in the worlds and in the game? Well, let's have a look through these sets and see if we can answer those questions. Oh, before I get started, I must point out that I got these for free from Games Workshop, but I do not charge for these videos. I don't get paid for them or anything. So my opinions are always my own. They send me the product, and if I think you'll find it interesting to look at, then I do a video about it. So first I'm going to start off with Warhammer 40,000 Introductory set. It's got a little red banner, or a big red banner I should say, at the top saying "Start Here." So this is perfect for when your typical mother or father is walking into the Warhammer store because little Johnny or Julia has decided that they're interested in this strange thing called Games Workshop and Warhammer. So they see this "Start Here" box and they think, yep, I love that, here's my money, keep them happy. And hopefully this will do the trick. Now, I've got to say from the start, if I'd received something like this for Christmas at the age of 12 or something like that, my head would have gone because wow, check it out. Let's have a look at the back here. You can see there's some Space Marine figures. There's some Tyrannid figures. You've got paint. You've even got a pair of clippers so you can clip things out. It's got a ruler. It's got dice, push fit models. There's reading and rules. It's got everything you need to start. And I think if you know nothing about the hobby, this would be a good place to get moving. So let's have a look inside and see what you get. So we've got a handbook. So you get a really nice introduction to the worlds of Warhammer here. And straight off the bat, it's really nice to see a picture of not two guys playing Warhammer, as it's been so common over the years, but a guy and a girl. It's good to see Games Workshop slowly starting to get more inclusive in the people that they appeal to. It's fantastic. Let's face it, it's been a bit of a boys' club for many, many years, and it certainly was when I was growing up. And also, it wasn't just a boys' club, it was sort of like a, non-cool boys' club kind of thing. And I'm really, really happy to see those kind of silly old cliches go the way of the dodo. It's really good to see people on social media of all types getting into the joy of gaming, and not just Games Workshop, of course. I mean, all kinds of gaming. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and the more we have it, the better. We want all kinds of lifestyles, all kinds of people, ages, gender choices, whatever you want. I want more diversity in the game, because diversity is what keeps something fresh and alive and changing. I'm going to get on my high horse now. When it comes to any sort of hobby like this, the people that rail against that kind of thing, the thing that they don't understand is that choice is calcifying their hobby. It's going to not change. And they may think that it's set in the most perfect place it's ever been, but even the most cursory glance over the history of the hobby shows that it's changing all the time. It has to change and modify. So I think in a video I did recently, I said how the 2 wound step of Warhammer 40,000 to me is just obsolete, and I think that they should get rid of it and change the game and make it faster and less dice rolling. And of course you get people who say, well, it wouldn't be Warhammer without that. And it's just like, why? There's no reason why it shouldn't still be Warhammer, and I will bet you $1 gazillion that eventually the game is streamlined and they remove the 2 wound step or something similar like that to streamline it, because all the other games that Games Workshop are bringing out are streamlining the rules, because change is good, and if it makes the game better, yay, I'm all for it. Anyway, let's get off my high horse, back to the starter set. Really good to see. So we've got a welcome there, and then we get into a little bit about the 41st millennium and the whole background to Warhammer 40,000. Big pictures, as you can see, straight into building the miniatures, and these are very easy to build. Now, I haven't built them because I've just been so busy building the Warhammer 40,000 set. I built the ones for Warcry, you can see those in a moment. And also, I've been building something else that I can't tell you about yet. So I'm very busy with building stuff at the moment, so I haven't built this one. But they look very simple to put together. They're push fit. Now, the whole push fit thing, I think, not particularly necessary, but I guess it takes out a step of confusion for people who are starting for the first time. They don't have to muck around with special glues and all that kind of thing. I would actually say that the whole clipping from the sprue part is actually harder than actually sticking them together. But it does give you a pair of clippers. And there they are, a pair of Games Workshop clippers. Now, well, Citadel clippers, I should say. These things cost a lot of money when you get them on your own, so it's good to have a little set of clippers. I've got a set of clippers by Redgrass Games, which is fantastic. They're the sharpest, nicest clippers I've ever found, but unfortunately for some bizarre reason, it's impossible to get them from that manufacturer anymore, and they won't send me a free pair, which I'm really annoyed about. And I'm still using a pair from them with one of the tines or broken off it and everything like that, only because it's still sharp and lovely. So I haven't actually tried these ones out. Let's see how sharp they are. Do a little clip. Yeah, they're all right. You know, they're not too bad. I still find those Redgrass ones, they're really sharp and they just slide through like butter for some reason. Don't know. I really wish they'd make them again. Anyway, so you get that, you get some clippers, which is great, and you can put your models together. And as you can see, you get a whole lot of termagants there. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 termagants, and a little Ripper Swarm stand as well. For the Infernus squad, I think that's 5 models. Let me just check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, so you've got the Infernus models from the Warhammer 40,000 Leviathan set, including the Sergeant, who is sort of drawing a dagger out. So some nice little figures to get started with. Then it gives you a little bit on how to paint. And it does come with some paints. Here they are in the box. What have we got? It's a small selection, of course. We've got a Baden Black. There's Wraithbone, Balthazar Gold, Krag Blue, which of course is your colour for Ultramarines, and we've got Nagaroth Knight, which is going to be used for your Tyranids. Here are our figures, like so. And you get a brush as well. It's a starter brush, so you know I wouldn't put much chop on that, but when you're doing it for the first time, that'll be fine. You really want to quickly get into getting a decent brush, because this wouldn't be that fantastic. So back to the book, and it gives you a very, very basic rundown of how to start painting. And in fact, it's so basic, it absolutely skips the whole priming step, which I thought was interesting. Basically, it's, you know, thin your paints, load your brush with paint, and start painting the bare plastic figure with paint. Really, to make up for the fact that you're not putting any primer on this, it recommends doing 3 thin coats. So with 3 thin coats, hopefully you get a nice clean finish by the time you've done 3. Anyway, it's nice and clear, it lays it out. So you basically got your base coat of Macragge Blue, and then you do some black detailing, and you do a bit of Balthasar Gold on the trims and stuff like that, and a bit of Wraithbone on the purity seals and the head. So they're using Wraithbone as a flesh colour to sort of, you know, do it. So, you know, you get a very basic kind of paint job from that. But remember, this is for kids. This is, you know, for young kids who are doing their first painting. So it's a good way to get started. I don't know what age it recommends. It says 12 and up. You know, as a 12-year-old, that's a good way to start. 12-year-olds are probably unbelievably smarter than I was when I was 12 these days. You probably find a 6-year-old being able to do this. I have no idea. I don't have kids, so I don't know what they're like these days. Then you've got the painting of the Tyranids. Again, you go straight in, and they're very clever. They use the wraithbone that you've used for the flesh. Wraithbone is your basic colour for these. Again, you do 3 coats straight onto the plastic, and then a bit of detailing with the Nagaroth Knight. And again, very basic job. You're not doing any shading or highlighting or anything with this kind of stuff, but it's just to get started. Then it's got some info on the Space Marines, the Ultramarines in general, and some nice more artwork, the Tyranids, a little bit about Hive Fleet Leviathan, which is all the latest stuff that's going on in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Again, more inspiring, exciting artwork. Love this shot of a Tyranid flying above a planet and everything. It's fantastic. Then we get into the game rules. Now, they really, really start absolutely simple, and I think this is fantastic. They lead you through the steps in each little scenario to tell you how to play it. Now, the interesting thing is all these rules, guess what? They've taken out the 2 wound step. There you go. Even the sort of last scenario, they don't have the 2 wound step. So this may be the start of things to come. You never know. But it does a good job introducing you to the basics. You've got this nice map here, which you can use as your base. Let's open it up. You can see it's that big. Got that side, and then we've got that side. So quite an attractive map, actually, for basics. Good thing to get started on. So in these scenarios, it basically, they're training scenarios. First one, moving and shooting. You basically just have, 4 models, and you're going through how to do your movement steps, and also shooting from a distance. So as I said, it's basically shoot and save. Mark my words. Anyway, then you go into training scenario. You've got 7 Termagants and a Ripper Swarm, 4 Infernus Marines, and then we get into close combat with that one as well. That's a little bit longer. And then we've got a mission at the end, Breach and Clear, where you basically got all the models and you can get into it. But again, it's a very cut down version of the rules. It's very, very simple. There's no, battle shock tests or any of that kind of stuff. And then, you've got a little bit at the end saying the battle continues. So you can fiddle around yourself playing with things. Now, I think at this age, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be reading these rules, and then you're going to be off in your own world of incredible imagination. I think that I really like the idea that as a starter set, it doesn't say, well, here are the rules at the end after you've done these simple things, and then gives you this cut down version of the complete rules. I mean, just give kids enough to get them inspired and get them excited about it. I think given that number of models and this nice backdrop, and you've done a bit of basic painting, you just get into it, basically. You've also got this little thing, so you can use this as a kind of building stuff. And you've got a ruler at the bottom as well, I should point out. So you've got enough here to, get excited about the whole thing. And I think this is what a starter set should do. It shouldn't be, here's some stuff, and then here are the complete rules, and this is how you play it, and it's all very serious. It should be, look at all the possibilities. And of course, there's several pages at the end that show you where you can go next and what models you can add, and lovely paint jobs, and then you can get a little bit more complicated and add a few more things and do a wash on your figures and, get into it. Before you know it, you're spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on your hobby, and, you're 57 years old like me and have spent a fortune on it and been playing it all your life. You're hooked. It's like a drug. Anyway, there you have it. Warhammer 40,000 introductory set. I think it's really, really nice little set. I love the way they've thrown basically everything you need to get started in there, even down to the clippers. I mean, they didn't have to give you clippers, let's face it. But, basically, when you're... The important thing is that when you open this on Christmas Day, when the kid opens it and goes, yay, yay, I've got Warhammer 40,000 starter set, yay, yay, everything's in it. Because it's like getting the toy that doesn't have the battery, isn't it? I mean, you really want everything on it so you can start playing on Christmas morning straight away. You can start chopping out bits of the sprue and losing them in the shag pile. Before you know it, you've lost all the bits, and then you start crying and you say, can I have another one? And parents go, oh, but I spent $100 on that. So that's the introductory set for Warhammer 40,000. I'm going to steal those paints, of course, add them to my paint collection, and also I'll have a few extra models to add to my Ultramarine and Tyranid armies. Next up, we've got Warcry Crypt of Blood, which is the starter set for Warcry, of course, and it comes not with full warbands. You've got some cut-down warbands here. you have 4 figures on each side, the Crimson Court and Xandir's Truth Seekers, who are basically vampires and Stormcast Eternals. And you've got a bit of scenery as well. There's a rule book, a battlefield mat, some cards, and stuff like that. So this isn't quite as basic as the Warhammer starter set. Of course, it doesn't have paints and things like that in it, and it's not about absolute basics, though it does walk you through the rules in a very basic manner. So there's the top and there's the back. Let's have a look what you get. Now, in this case, I actually did make the models because they look rather nice and they're worth seeing all put together. So first you've got the Truth Seekers, I think they're called. Did I say Xandir's Truth Seekers? Yes. So these are your Stormcast Eternal models. Got that lovely one there. You know, these have got individual names, so I won't bother telling you who they are, but they're nice figures. And we've got this lovely bowman here. It's a nice figure. And then we've got one of these sort of hawks or birds who's tagging along. And then we've got some really nice vampire figures, actually. These are quite lovely. Look at this one. Very imposing stance. Love that cloak, it's really nice. This one, holding up his hand in the classic "Come and I will drink your blood" pose. Then we've got this very impressive female vampire with a couple of swords. Very nice. And then this guy who is a little bit more bestial than the others, has wings. Nice. Then you've got some scenery. There's this strange kind of graveyard marker thing, which would make a nice objective marker for Warcry games, as well as just normal scenery. I actually have the old Age of Sigmar set of the graveyard, so these will go nicely with that graveyard set. Got some very nice detailed wall sections. That one. This one. And then some more solid walls. To say these bits are very, very fragile. Just be careful when you're getting those off the sprue, because 3 of those broke off when I was putting them together. They're super, super fragile. But nice wall sections. And then finally this large, weird looking sarcophagus, which again, nice objective marker or scenery piece. You of course get some dice, which is always handy. You've got reference sheets for Xandir's Truth Seekers and the Crimson Court, and you can see the miniatures. That's how they look when they're painted up. Then you've got your cards for each of the miniatures. The lovely Warcry system, which uses this beautiful iconography, which I really, really like. When I saw this, when Warcry first came out, I just thought, hello, Games Workshop has just finally stepped to the next level. Really lovely graphic design. Instead of these interminably long stat blocks, we've got this nice icon system. We've got those. That's just a piece of card. There's the book. We'll go through that in a second. You've got a little manual there for putting the figures together. It's very easy to do. And you've got a sheet of counters. That's your sort of standard counters that you need for Warcry. And a little range ruler, just a short range ruler. Here's your battle mat. As you can see, we've got on that side, we've got a sort of graveyard in winter. Nice. And then this is like back to the old days of Warcry. I had this kind of green tiles kind of thing. So a nice double-sided battle mat to get started. Then we have the book. Let's have a look inside. So as you can see already, this is probably made for an older audience. It's a bit more dense in the amount of text, stuff like that. I'm not sure why they've done this to sort of go to an older audience, really, because, you know, Warcry is a relatively straightforward system. I guess Warcry is a harder system to kind of cut down the way they've cut down Warhammer 40,000 for that introductory set. It doesn't really work if you cut down basic elements because it's pretty easy flowing as it is, but it still has certain level of complexity like reactions and things like that, and also the way that you use dice and doubles and triples and quadruples and stuff like that. So you've got background material about the two small factions, as I say, only 4 figures aside. Basic stuff on learning to play, how to build your miniatures, and some tips on painting. And then to battle. So we go through a series of battle plans here, which go through the basics of the rules, and they start very basically. I mean, how to do movement, basically. So, it does start very simple. We go through that, and then, chasing, and then we get into the basics of the combat system. I won't go through that now. You all know how to play Warcry by now, I'm sure. If you don't, I've got a battle report you can check out on this channel, so just go and search for that. It's quite fun. I'm definitely going to do another Warcry battle report. I'm long overdue for doing a new one. In fact, I haven't done one using the new reaction rules that were in the last version of the rules, and I really want to try those out. I haven't had a chance. I've been so busy with other games. So yeah, we go through a series of battle plans using these 4 miniature warbands, and you can go through that. And then we do get the core rules here. So basically you do get all the rules for the game here. So I think this is, as I said, it's not so much a really simple introductory set. It's more like I want to try Warcry, but I don't want to buy one of those big box sets that are really expensive, that have all the terrain in them. This would be a really good way to start if you just want to dabble in Warcry and try it out, I think. And then, of course, there's a bit about continuing the quest. You can buy the core book now, the compendium, which gives you all of the rules for the different warbands. I do have a copy of the compendium, and I don't think I did a video about it, which is a bit naughty. I should have done that. And different warband tomes, how you can expand into other figures, monsters, stuff like that. And then tips on getting paints and brushes and stuff. And there's a little bit of terrain from the last big set that they had. So, as I said, good way to start. I don't think this is so much for like young kids though. What have they got the ages for on the box? Let's have a look. It says 12 plus on the bottom of the box, so same age as the other one. Though I think this is for slightly more advanced kids who want to get into Warcry, and even for adults who just want to try Warcry, as I said, without buying one of those box sets, the big box sets. So there you go, Crypt of Blood. Some nice little miniatures, which I think I'm going to add to my collection because I do like the vampires. Always had a bit of a thing for vampires. Maybe it'd be good to get a vampire army together one day. Play a bit more Age of Sigmar. I've got a feeling, I wonder when the next Age of Sigmar set is going to be on the horizon. Just feels like that's going to be the next big thing, or is it too early? I'm not sure. When was the last one released? Feels like a while ago now. So there you go. I hope in the next set they give the Stormcast Eternals a bit of a rest and do something else though. We'll see. Crypt of Blood starter set. So there you go, 2 starter sets from Games Workshop, and some nice, not only fantastic presents for young kids on Christmas morning or whatever, or birthday or whatever, to get them into the hobby. If you want to get your kids into the hobby, because you're going to be spending a lot of money on it if you do. But wow, as I said, if I was a kid and I got one of these, I'd be so excited. They just didn't have stuff this cool when I was young. They had games and everything, but they weren't this level of quality and amazing miniatures and paints in it and all that kind of stuff. This would have blown my mind. So if you reckon you know someone, especially who's a bit younger, who would love to get into the hobby, I think this is a really good way to start. I hope this has given you some idea of what you get in the boxes and whether they're right for you. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. Again, my name's Peter. This is the Esoteric Order of Gamers. I've got a website called orderofgamers.com, and not only are all my 500 plus videos there, and you can easily search through the site to find them, but there's also about 445 rules and references that I've done by hand. I've summarized the rules to popular board games and tabletop miniatures games and made them available for you. You can just download the PDFs, and they're really handy for learning and relearning your games, because let's face it, they can get a bit complex sometimes, these games, and once you pass the starter sets, you might need a little help, and that's why I'm there, to help you out a little bit when it comes to rules. I will see you next time. Good gaming, everybody. Bye for now.